Hello, everybody. Welcome to Zen Guru's podcast. And today we have a visionary, a mystic amongst us. He is Nakul Agrawal. So I'm sure this podcast will be quite enlightening for all of you. So I request all of you, whatever you're doing, just, for 1 hour, leave it aside and concentrate on this because we have an interesting personality amongst us who will be, who will be giving us some wonderful insights on life, on our thought process, on meditation, enlightenment. So let's ask him. Hi, Nakul. First of all, thank you so much for
Hi,
joining us here. So
thank you, Bhavin.
before we, come to the real questions about yoga and all, can you share a bit about your early life and what sparked your curiosity about spirituality at young age?
So, Bhavita, ever since I was very young, I remember being absolutely curious child. I also has had this ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder,
Oh,
and because of that, I was generally curious about anything and everything, full of questions. And so I would not believe anything. People around me would just say that, okay, this is right, this is wrong, this is good, this is bad. Usually, as children, we accept the answers given by our parents and make beliefs out of them. But I would just keep on asking questions and not believe them really. And as I grew, I got exposure to Discovery Channel and such, shows which spoke about the immensity of the universe, how big the cosmos is, the planets, the stars, the galaxies. And that really made me question the beliefs around religion, around God, around death, around all these things, because it made no sense, right? They say that after death you go to heaven, but where is heaven? When you look at the universe from Hubble telescope, you cannot see any heaven or hell. Right? So as I moved further in my life, my questions only grew stronger and deeper. And once I was done with my 10th standard, I had to make a choice about what do I really want to do with my life. Like every child has to choose. You want to become a doctor, an engineer, a chartered accountant, an actor, whatever. And when I was given this choice, I was really confused. I mean, most children are really confused, but I was immensely confused because I was good at many things. My curiosity made me explore cricket, swimming, basketball, football, sports. So I was good at many sports. I was very good at dancing. I have numerous prizes. I would do break dance and salsa and jive, all sorts of things. I was a good public speaker. I felt I looked reasonably good, so I could also become an actor, right? I was interested in the space, science, all those things. So part of me wanted to be an astronaut. A part of me felt, oh, I love children. Let me become a teacher. A part of me said, oh, I come from a Marwadi background, and we've seen entrepreneurship as the thing in our family. So I should just become a businessman and entrepreneur. So there were parts of me which were stretched in various directions. Should I choose this? Should I choose that? And I was unable to reconcile that what is really worth choosing out of all of them. Right. And this is where I started questioning life very deeply, that if I have to choose one thing to do in life, what is worth doing in life? And when I asked myself what is worth doing in life, I had to invariably get an answer to the question, what is life? Because unless and until I have a definition of what is life, how can I, describe or define or come to conclusion about what is worth doing in it? And if I wanted to understand life, I had to understand death. Because death is what gives meaning to life, right? And if you want to understand death, you need to understand where did you come from and where would you go when you die, right?
absolutely.
So it became an existential crisis for me. And I really started questioning what is God, what is heaven, what is hell, is there reincarnation, or is it just one life that we all have? Is there something called heaven and hell? So all these questions which already were boiling inside me took a lot of gravity, right? And without even realizing, I started on a spiritual journey. Because what most people think as spirituality is just about praying to a god or singing bhajans or doing some fasting or some rituals. Well, that is not spirituality. That is religion. those are religious rituals. Spirituality is when you have a spirit of knowing the reality of life. Or you can also say that you want to know the reality of the spirit. So, yeah, I mean, I had all these questions, and before even realizing I became a spiritual guy, I was on a spiritual pursuit. And I realized that I am on a spiritual pursuit after a very, very long time. Right. So, I was just someone who was full of questions about life because I wanted to have some sense of certainty about what is life so that I could make decisions and make choices about what I want to do with my life. Right. And we all naturally need some sense of certainty to make choices and decisions in life, isn't it?
So, Nakul, how did your background in chartered accountancy influence your approach to spirituality and leadership?
So, Bhavita, interestingly, my education of chartered accountancy actually became a blessing in disguise for my spiritual journey. While I was studying for chartered accountancy, I actually found the subjects very useless. There's very less scope of curiosity and creativity in chartered accountancy commerce subjects, right? You just have to understand the laws of accountancy, the laws of taxation, the laws of costing, and you have to just go according to law. So there's very less scope for curiosity and creativity, is what I found. So naturally, because I would get bored trying to study those subjects, my mind would naturally gravitate towards my own existential questions, which were about life and spirituality. So in my experience and my educational journey of chartered accountancy actually became a blessing in disguise for me to evolve spiritually, right? Now, regarding how does it really change my approach as a spiritual teacher, I wouldn't say it changes my approach much. I mean, I do not know if my analytical abilities were enhanced a little because of those subjects. I don't think so. But if that is so, maybe. So my approach as a teacher has not changed because of that. What has helped though is that one or few of my students who are entrepreneurs and who are business leaders, right? So when they share their problems related to business and related to commerce, I am able to help them much better because I understand that domain very, very well. Since I have audited a lot of organizations, studied tax, accounts, finance, all of those things. So I'm able to understand their problems and I'm able to give them practical solutions. Vis-a-vis most spiritual teachers who have no experience of entrepreneurship or of studying commerce. So a lot of their answers to the questions that people ask tend to be very impractical. They're very lofty ideas or very idealistic, but not realistic. So I think that is what it brings to my approach, that I give very practical, realistic solution. The answer to any problem is not seek yourself, who wants to do it. No, sometimes there are some practical solutions. You need to create some systems and processes. You need to have a team. You need to have some sort of discipline and structure in life. Right? So I'm able to help people with answers and solutions which really work and are not some lofty ideas.
So
I
what
think
led you to found? Yeah, you were saying something?
no, that's it.
Okay. So what led you to found Renovatio Foundation at just 20 years old? And what are some of the initial challenges you faced?
So when I was pretty young and I was in this journey of exploring the purpose of life, what is worth doing in life, who am I, what truly matters in life, one thing was very clear to me, that life is not at all about hoarding a lot, but it is about sharing and giving. Right? Because we can only use little. Right? Beyond that, whatever we hoard is only for a false sense of security or a false sense of superiority in the social structure. Right? I mean, beyond a certain amount, your lifestyle does not change. Then you just want to buy the same t-shirt costing 10,000 rupees or 50,000 rupees because you want to feel superior. It does not change your requirements. True. Right? Same goes with you holding more assets in terms of physical bank deposits or land bank or whatever people do. They all know that they require deposits and savings up to a certain amount to take care of the future needs of children education or healthcare or whatever. Beyond that, It is just an egoic sense of security for which they go on hoarding more and more. It was very clear to me that life is not about hoarding more and more, but it's about sharing and giving more and more. And if you look at any living being apart from human beings, if you notice, they're all about giving. A tree is giving its shade, its fruit, its seeds.
Wow.
I mean, the sky is giving water to us. The entire plant is giving sunlight and wind to us, and they're all living elements, right? In fact, if you look at a monkey, right? Now, if you see a monkey who is just hoarding all the bananas possible and keeping it to himself, not sharing with others, you would actually think the monkey has a mental disorder, and you would actually start treating the monkey. That what's
Yeah.
wrong with this monkey? Why is this monkey hoarding more bananas that he can actually eat? And then he can actually eat even in a month or a year, right? But with human beings, it's not the case.
Yeah.
We're just holding on more and more money, wealth, and whatnot, clothes, accessories, shoes, whatnot, because we feel insecure or because we want to feel superior, right? But the purpose of life or the nature of life is not to just hoard, it is to share and give. So, because it was very clear to me that life is about giving, this is what led me to start Renovatio at such a young age, right? The trigger point, of course, was Nirbhaya, the Delhi gang rape which happened. I noticed that there were protest marches and rallies across the country, but there was no such protest march in Nagpur. And I felt that I also wanted to show solidarity for the cause. And I was pretty sure that many Nagpurians also felt that way, that we also want stronger laws for women, stronger protection for women, right? And a better system which punishes the guilty as soon as possible. So after 2 weeks of the incident, I saw that nobody's taking an initiative. So I myself took the initiative that I'll organize a protest march, the candle march, and show the world that we also stand with the cause, you know. And I just decided at 6 p.m. in the evening, tomorrow 6 p.m. we'll be having a protest march. And within a day, I was able to gather more than 2,000 or, I mean, in fact, few thousands of people.
Wow.
All the candles, all the placards, everything. And I was a 20-year-old young guy, right?
Wow.
So it wasn't that I was an influential guy or I had a political background, nothing of that sort. I just spread the word on social media. I went and spread the word in coaching classes and boys and girls, hostels, everywhere. And definitely a lot of people wanted to be a part of it. So they spread the word even further and thousands of them gathered. And this is when I realized that, you know, people really want to do something. They just do not have the courage to take the initiative or to create a platform to do it. I felt I had the courage and also the skills of, you know, creating the platform, because in the past I also had started an event management company, I think at
Oh,
the age
wow.
of 18 or 19, along with my chartered accountancy education, right? So I knew I could bring people together, I could organize things, I could strategize and do things. And this is how Renovati was born, that I wanted to do something and then realized that people also want to do something. So yeah, I mean, a lot of my elders, my well-wishers, my mentors said, don't do it. Study CA, get a job, or do some business. Social work is meant to be done in old age. It's not meant to be done so young in life. It will disturb your education and other things. But I felt it's not about me wanting to do it for the sake of status or a sense of responsibility. It's because I find it to be the purpose. The purpose of life is to give. And I strongly felt, Bhavita, that the major cause of all the problems on this planet is human beings, right? You would agree to this. We have
Yes,
natural
absolutely.
calamity, and even a lot of natural calamities are because of our irresponsible actions, like
Yeah,
global warming and stuff
true.
is happening.
True.
So I wanted that unless and until we change human beings, we can never solve all the problems on the planet. Be it corruption, be it pollution, be it global warming, be it exploitation, be it sexual abuse, be it murder, be it crime, be it any problem. And the only way to change human beings is to change the way they think. Otherwise, you can go on and plant 1,000 trees, and tomorrow there will be just one person required to cut all of them. You might spend your lifetime planting trees, and just one person will cut all of them, right? So unless we change the way people think, we cannot change anything in this world. And all great thinkers have also realized this, be it Mahatma Gandhi, be it Albert Einstein, be it anyone. they all have said that unless you change the way people think, you cannot change anything in the world.
Hmm.
And the only way we can change the way people think is through changing the education system, right? Because that is where our thought process is formed in our upbringing.
Hmm.
So through Renovative, my core objective has always been to change the education system, to make it a process where every human being starts reflecting on what truly matters in life, what is
Hmm.
the purpose of life, what is truly right and wrong in life, where
Hmm.
every human being becomes aware of their own thoughts, emotions, of
Hmm.
the aspects of relationships,
Hmm.
right? Of how important is their role in society,
Hmm.
that they become more responsible as citizens rather than people who are just blaming and passing comments about the government and others.
Hmm.
And I found this to be a missing part of the education system. The system talks about the world outside, but nothing about the one inside.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
So, me starting Renovatio was a combination of all these things. Realizing that life's purpose is to give and share, realizing that people also want to do something meaningful. That's why they joined the rally in thousands of numbers. And that until unless we change the education system, we cannot bring a truly lasting, meaningful change in the world. Yeah. And yeah, hence Renovatio started and it's still going. It's been 12 years. I started alone, and today we have a team of thousands of volunteers and many more supporters and well wishers who are working towards this cause of creating a more conscious, curious, courageous, and compassionate world, compassionate mankind. Yeah.
Okay, so how do you balance your professional life with your spiritual quest in your early years?
So there was no professional and spiritual life different, Bhavita.
Okay.
I was studying for chartered accountancy, and I was parallelly also doing some businesses, of course, to make a living, right? And I was also running this NGO Renovatio. So for me, Renovatio was the purpose of my life. And whatever businesses I was doing was just to fund Renovatio. Because naturally I had to make a living. And I never liked spreading my hands in front of others to ask for money and donations.
Hmm.
So my objective of life was clear that I would make a living by through my entrepreneurial pursuits, and whatever I earn would go to Renovatio. Just like it happens in the Tata Trust, na? The
Hmm.
Tatas run businesses, but the money goes to the Tata Trust. And through the Tata Trust, it's used for a variety of social development issues. Right. So that is what the objective of my life was back then. Right? And my spiritual seeking was very simple, Bhavita. I was just on a process of observing whatever thoughts, emotions I would encounter during the day, whatever actions I would take. And I would just sit back in the evening and inquire, why did I get angry with this person? Why did I feel attracted towards that person? Why did I feel repulsed towards the person? What made me do this and not that? Right? So I was just trying to understand my behavior, my emotions, my entire psychological construct, right? And also that of others whom I would encounter, right? It was not about praying to a particular god, chanting some beads or malas or lighting a lamp. It was not at all any rituals that I would follow. I would just simply observe whatever I would think, feel, and do during the day, and also what others around me would act, behave in a particular way during the day. And at the end of the day, I would just go to my balcony, look at the stars, because I was a fan of the universe, cosmos, all those things, right? And I would just contemplate for hours together sitting in my balcony. That why do people do what they do, and why did I do whatever I do? And one question would lead to a lot of other questions. Like if I say, why did I get angry at Bhavita? My mind would say, because Bhavita, let's say, misbehaved. So why did her misbehavior create anger in me? There are a lot of people who misbehave. A small child also misbehaves. But I don't get angry with the child. Why did I get angry with Bhavita? And then the mind would say, oh, because, but she said this. Okay, but why did her saying this create anger in me? Because I wanted to hear this. What she did was wrong. Why do I believe what she did was wrong? It could also have been right. Don't I misbehave with people? Don't I abuse people? don't I get angry? Don't I do something which people get angry about? So similarly, I would just go on peeling layers after layers after layers, trying to understand what is really causing all those emotions, all those feelings, all those thoughts, and all those actions that I take in my life. And this is how I started understanding myself. So my
So,
spiritual journey was
yeah.
supported by my professional journey or my social journey.
Hmm.
My
True.
daily experiences shaped my inner realizations and they supported it. And I am of the strong belief that you cannot get enlightened sitting in a cave or a mountain or an ashram.
Hmm.
You
True.
only know yourself in relationship to others. Right? Anybody can be at peace in the cave. You have to be at
Yeah.
peace in the world. Then it
Yeah.
means you've actually achieved peace, right?
Yeah. True. True. So, can you describe the moment of your profound awakening at the age of 25 and how it transformed your life?
Surely, Bhavita. So, uh, I mean, by the age of 25, if you look at my spiritual seeking starting at the age of 15, which is when I was at 10th
Hmm.
grade, it started much earlier, as I've told you, when I was very, very curious. But even if you think that it took intensity after my 10th grade, by the age of 25, I was almost a decade into my spiritual journey,
Hmm.
right? And what happened was that uh, this one time I was giving my CA examination, studying for my CA group 2, group 1. I was with my group 2 already. And I had this strong feeling within that I'm very close to the ultimate experience, that
Wow.
which you call as enlightenment or awakening. I just had this intuitive feeling. I cannot describe the reason I had it. Probably because while studying, I would just go into deep states of thoughtlessness and I would stay there for hours together. Right? And I became very, very detached, Bhavita, to a lot of cravings which usually anybody has. Right? Like I used to be a shopaholic. I would love to explore new restaurants. I would love to talk to people. I was an extrovert. But all these cravings had mostly gone by that time
The most.
because of the clarity which emerged, because of the process I was in. Right? And I had a very strong feeling that I'm very, very close to the experience. So usually what I would do is after the exams, I would just go back to starting some share the spare clothes donation drive and the teaching dream catchers project in the school. The moment the exam is over, next day I would go back to all my projects and events and initiatives in Renova. Right? I would feel like let's go and do things and change the world. This time, because I had a gut feeling that I'm very close to it, I decided that I would spend some time only to go deeper and deeper within and not just go out and get into action. Because, for CA, you have to study for 2 to 3 months locked in a room. That's how tough the exam is. So, my life at that point was just two things: either I'm studying for CA or I'm absolutely working for Renovatio, doing all sorts of things and whatnot. Also, some of my business endeavors would also go along parallelly. This time, I decided for another 1 or 2 months, I am not going to go out, get into action. I'll stay back in my room and I want to just focus on going deeper and deeper with it. Right. So I decided this. I was done with my exams in the last month of November, last week of November. And I said, nothing doing. I'll just stay with myself and explore this feeling further. And as I went on going deeper and deeper into it, I think you want to say something, Bhavita. You have something to add?
Yeah, yeah. When I was going through your website over there, you said that you are a karma yogi. So, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, so I'll tell you about that. But once, let me first just share the story of
Yeah, yeah.
how the awakening happened. So I went deeper into it, and as I went deeper into it, almost 15 to 20 days later, after completing my exams, it happened to be 14th of December, which supposedly was a full moon day. And
Wow.
history tells you that most people who attain enlightenment have done so on a full moon day, right? It could be coincidence or it could be something to do with the state the planet is on, right? The energies are on a peak. And this one day, I really had this profound experience, Bhavita, where I lost sense of my body, I lost sense of my mind, I lost sense of time, and I also less sense of the seeking, like wanting to know something, wanting to do something. The observer within who's constantly trying to see and understand whatever is happening outside. All of it vanished.
Wow.
And I came back after 3 hours. I was just lost into nothingness. And what I experienced was me being nothing and also me being everything. Like right now, what you experience yourself is your body. And when your
Hmm.
experience of body goes, you think you're the thoughts in your mind. You're
Yeah.
Bhavita, you have this personality, you're a woman, you're an
Yeah.
Indian, you're a Hindu or a Punjabi, you are of this age. So when you think about yourself, you have all these ideas in your mind. Imagine if all of this went away.
Hmm.
You would think you're nothing
Hmm.
and also everything. Because
Hmm.
if your experience of body, which gives you a finite boundary, a finite sense of separation from others, if that also goes away, then in your experience, you are nothing and you're everything. You're everywhere in everything, right? It's difficult for you to experientially know this. I mean, logically, I can only explain this much, but that's how the experience of enlightenment or awakening is, that you realize that you are not the person you are thinking yourself to be. You are, in fact, everything and everywhere. And when I came back, my association with my past completely went away. It is as if my memory was completely erased. And when I opened my eyes, I would look at the tree outside my window, and I can still look at the same tree, interestingly, which is still there outside my window. And I realized that I had never looked at this tree ever before.
Hmm.
So, just like a child is looking at everything with utmost curiosity, right? Have you seen a child? A child looks at everything with so much curiosity. He's just
Yeah.
staring at everything, wanting
Hmm.
to know what it is. I found that same sense of wonder again in my life. And I'm wondering if you can hear me clearly. Yeah.
Yes, I can.
So everything, Bhavita, seemed absolutely new for me. The tree, the almirah. When I would walk, I would feel the sense of the floor on my feet, my skin touching it, the floor being cold or warm, right? When I went downstairs, because I live in a duplex apartment, I did not relate with my father or my mother. I felt, are they really my parents? So all strong sense of association or sense of knowing anything and anyone, it just completely went away. And I was just absolutely in the present, right? Usually, when you see people talking about spirituality, they say, come in the present, be in the present. I was absolutely in the present effortlessly. I could not be anywhere else. So, people try to make an effort to be in the present. For me, it was an effort to be anywhere else than the present.
Wow.
And it gave me answers to all the remaining questions of life, Bhavita. If you'd ask me what is love, I can explain you. If you explain me what is God, what is soul, what is death, I can tell you from experience. And it is not my arrogance or misunderstanding that I know it all. This insight just started popping into my head after the experience. It was like I knew it already. I always knew it. I was just running away from it. And I felt this is very interesting. I mean, it is so simple. I thought enlightenment is something very complex. You get memories of lifetime and you see some visions. You don't get to see any memories of lifetime. In fact, your memory of this life only goes away because you realize you're nothing and no one. Are you getting me?
So, what is love according to you?
Well, love is just a feeling, Bhavita, which comes to you when there are certain needs, certain needs, psychological, physical, emotional, sexual, social, all sorts of needs. When all these needs get fulfilled in some way or the other, then you feel a deep sense of peace within. It's just like when you're
Hmm.
hungry, you have a need to search for something, you're restless, you're looking for food, you're looking to eat something, cook something, order something. But when you eat,
Hmm.
you are at rest. That seeking and searching is gone. and you feel complete within, at least with
Yeah.
respect to the hunger. Similarly, what people call as love is always something which is because of a certain person. If a particular human being fulfills your emotional needs, your physical needs, your social needs, your psychological needs, then you start feeling a deep sense of completeness within. When you start feeling that sense of completeness within, the sense of deep ease, and you feel so good, right? Which you were not feeling earlier. This
Yeah.
feeling of feeling so good, so complete within is what you call as love. Because now you are really grateful towards the person. Because of that person, you experience this completeness. What does the
Yeah.
person do? The person just tells you, Bhavita, you're so beautiful. You're so sweet. You make me feel complete. The person makes you feel important, makes you feel nice. The person makes you feel secure and safe. The person makes you feel understood. The person makes you feel cared for. So all sorts of your emotional, social, psychological needs are fulfilled. And that is why you say, I am in love with you. You're never in love with the other person, Bhavita. You're in love with the feeling you are experiencing within, which is because your needs got fulfilled. And just because the other person was a medium for those needs to be fulfilled, you say, I'm in love with you. No, you're just grateful for the person, towards the person.
But
Tomorrow, if those
nowadays,
needs would change, your love will end.
yeah. But Nakul, you don't think so? Nowadays, they don't focus on love. They focus more on how financially stable the guy is, how influential the family is.
They do
And
now. Because see, that is also coming from fulfilling the insecurity within. The greatest insecurity people have is of money, right? What if I don't get the food tomorrow, the shelter tomorrow, or the lifestyle tomorrow? The first thing people want is sense of security about their lifestyle. You can also call it about survival. I want to ensure that I would be enjoying a comfortable life the way I enjoy it right now, or an even more comfortable life. So that is what people assign the most importance to. But they fail to realize that that is important for sure. But more than that, what's more important is your emotional needs. If the person is not understanding you, is not supporting you, then you would feel lonely within. And you would not be able to go out towards someone else to get that emotional support because you will feel you're cheating, you're guilty, right? So it's a big reason why people split also. They check for all the kundali, all the horoscopes,
yeah,
all the
yeah,
gunas, the financial horoscope is also matched, right? But they don't check if the other person
emotional.
shares the same values,
Yeah.
shares the same interests,
Hmm.
has a similar sense of purpose in life.
Hmm.
And unless and until your values, your interests, your
Hmm.
sense of purpose match, it's gonna be very difficult for two people to stay together happily.
Hmm.
They might stay together financially secure, but
Yeah.
inwardly they would be deeply insecure.
Hmm. True.
And that's how most marriages are, and they have been.
Hmm. That's a sad state.
Well, that's because people are not conscious, right? They
Yeah.
don't understand themselves. So when
Yeah.
you do not understand yourself, you cannot choose the right partner.
And I think more than that, Nakul, they have seen their moms compromising and doing the same. So they feel
Yes, yes.
it's just fine.
Hence, it's absolutely necessary, Bhavita, for any person to know themselves. Because without knowing yourself, you cannot choose the right life partner. You cannot choose the right business partner. You cannot choose the right set of employees because you do not know what your values are. How will you check on their values,
Hmm.
right? You cannot even choose the right job or right profession because you do not know what you truly find meaningful and joyful. You think that, oh, all I need is a high paying job because
Hmm.
that's what the society appreciates. And you go on chasing jobs which pay you high, but which make you feel very dry.
Hmm.
Right? Yesterday, I was in Bangalore and some IITians had come to meet me who ran startups and who were doing some jobs. And they were IITians, they had high paying jobs. And they said that although in the eyes of the world, we were successful. We had achieved more than we ever imagined. We were earning high, living in the top-notch cities, traveling the world, but we were deeply unhappy, deeply unfulfilled. And they also had to undergo therapy, they said.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because they realized that although they have money and status and whatever, they do not have happiness. And that's when they dropped out of those jobs and started seeking for what is the purpose of my life, what is worth doing in life. They'd come to meet me to get those answers, right? So this is what happens, Bhavita, and this is why it is so important for everybody to know themselves. Spirituality is not something which you have to do in old age, so as to appease God and enter heaven. It's something which you should start doing from a very, very young age. It's about you having clarity about who you are, what matters to you, what is life about, what do you care for, who are the kind of people you resonate with, and why is that so? And unless you have this clarity, you will be perennially confused. You'll be part of the rat race, as people say. I think you're successful, but you're a failure because you're deeply unhappy, deeply anxious within. What's the point of this life then?
So through your teachings, how do you help people to break the emotional, to get out of the emotional traumas and to get rid of the fears?
It's very simple, Bhavita. I teach them what I have went. I teach them how they can also observe themselves.
Okay.
Because unless and until you observe something, you can never understand it, right? For you to understand anything, you have to first pay attention and watch it happening. Then you start questioning. Why is it happening this way and why not some other way? Newton discovered gravity when he observed an apple falling. Right. So first I teach people how they can start observing their own self.
Their thoughts.
Their thoughts, their emotions, their behavior. And second, I teach them how they can really inquire so as to understand themselves. Because when you understand yourself, you have realizations. If you just keep chanting some mantra, doing some kriya and some kundalini, you will at the most have relaxation. You will never have realization. Because realization only comes out of questioning, inquiring, asking questions. And questions will only come out of observation. Right? So A, I teach them how they can observe themselves. B, I teach them how they can inquire to understand themselves. And C, of course, I also give them a fundamental understanding about everything. Why we do what we do. So I teach them the fundamentals because it took me more than a decade to truly understand myself. And I have spent a lot of sleepless nights to truly understand why does this happen? Why do I do that? I mean, to understand what makes people fall in love, it took me 6 months to really understand what is love. I know people don't have that much time, desperation, and dedication. And even if they have that, they might not have that good analytical ability to truly arrive on those answers. So there are some fundamental answers which I give them, which become the foundation for them to understand themselves. Right? And then I make them go through some daily meditations and processes which help them go deeper and deeper into themselves. Cut through all those emotions. Because every emotion emerges from a thought. If you understand the underlying thought, and if you're able to release that underlying thought, be free from it, understand why it's not so important, why it's not so relevant, why it is not so true, then automatically the emotion also goes away. Okay. So this is what is different in my teaching, Bhavita, as compared to most other spiritual gurus or organizations. They're only focusing on telling them to chant a particular mantra, do certain breathing practices, kriyas, or dance, singing some devotional songs, or do certain worship rituals. Well, all that will only give you relaxation. It will never ever give you realization. And because it does not give you realization, you will never get liberation or enlightenment or awakening. Hence, you find all these spiritual seekers are at the most relaxed. Nobody is realized because they do not encourage asking questions. They do not encourage inquiring, right? And that's not my approach.
So what are some of the questions we can ask ourselves to feel more realized and to have a better understanding of ourselves and our being, our soul?
Well, there are a lot of questions, Bhavita, that you can ask yourself. And it's actually a very open-ended thing. The most important kinds of question is starting with why and what. So whenever you, let's say, you felt anger, you got angry, and you want to introspect, why did you get angry? So it has to be, why did I get angry? Oh, because he did that. You bring the needle back to yourself. It's okay, he did that, but why did that make me feel angry? Or because I did not want him to do that. Okay, I did not want him to do that, but why does that make me angry? Do I do what people tell me to do always? No. Then why should he do what I want him to do? Is it possible for someone to do what I want them to do always? No. Then why do I expect people to always do what I want them to do? Do you see this? We're using questions like why and what, and we're just penetrating deeper and deeper and deeper layers of it. Or you could just, to start with, ask a simple question is, whatever I think about this thing, is it really true?
True.
I think he's jealous of me. He hates me. Is it really true? Oh, yes, it's true. Really true? Has he never done something which makes me feel he cares for me, he loves me, he supports me, he's not jealous of me? And the moment you ask this question, your mind will tell you that the opposite has also been true. Right? So there's a whole set of questions you ask yourself, and there's a way to do that. I, of course, cannot get deep into it in this interview itself because you have to attend like a 5-day, 10-day program to really understand it step by step. Right? You might end up feeling more confused if I tell you in a nutshell right now. But I've given you a glimpse of how you do that.
Okay, so some practical techniques, on the journey of self-realization.
This is the ultimate and the only technique, Bhavita. Daily, in the evening, reflect on your entire day.
Entire day.
Try to remember what you did from morning to evening and what thoughts you had doing those things. In the morning,
and did you really want to do this, or you were just on a default mode doing it?
No, you definitely have been on a default mode. Unless you cultivate self-awareness, which comes to practicing observation, you will always function from a default mode. But doing this inquiry reflective practice will help you to get out of the default mode gradually. So just reflect on your entire day and remember the thoughts and the emotions that you encountered during different parts of the day. Right? And just pick up one such thought or emotion and try to inquire, try to understand, why did you behave that way? Why did you feel that emotion? What made you do what you did? What made you feel that way? And just go on drilling further and further ahead. Right? Make it a daily part of yourself. Like people write a diary, dear diary, today I did this and I felt that and this happened and I thought that. So imagine you're writing a diary, and you can even actually write a diary. And in the process of writing a diary, you don't just stop writing at what you felt, what you thought, what you did, what happened. You also go into the why of it. And as you start going into the why of it, you will start understanding yourself. As you start understanding, you will start realizing yourself. Realizing small things about yourself in the beginning. And eventually, if you do the right practices, you will have the ultimate realization. The same that Gautam Buddha had, that Mahavir had, that Nanak had, that Guru Gobind had, that Kabir had, that Krishnamurti had, Rajneesh had. anyone who you truly worship as a saint or as a guru have just been human beings like you and me. They also had faults in themselves, like you have. They also had emotions. They also had desires and cravings and lust and whatnot. They were as damaged as you are. They were as imperfect as you are. But they did this process. They observed themselves and they seeked to know themselves. Gautam Buddha did this, Mahavir did this, Nanak did this. They questioned themselves. And that's how they reached on a realization. Enlightenment is called as self-realization, not self-relaxation. Nobody ever attained enlightenment through just chanting a mantra or just doing a kriya. Nobody. Or just dancing. Nobody. It does not happen that way. It comes out of clearing the conditioning, the ego, the sense of self you have. And it will only, you can only undo that self through the same process that you did it. You created an identity about who you are by observing people around, right? And asking, oh, if I do this, am I good? They would say, yes, good girl. If I do that, bad girl. So you created a sense of identity based on what people told you who you were.
True.
And you accepted it. Now, only when you question and undo it will you realize who you truly are. And Bhavita, the day you realize that, trust me, you will just have a deep sense of joy, a deep sense of peace, a deep sense of love, and a deep sense of freedom, irrespective of anything which happens. You would always think, how can I give to people? Then how can I get more and more from them? Your life would be a journey of love and a journey of peace, joy, happiness. You might not be the most wealthiest person in the world, but you would definitely be the most happiest person in the world and the most peaceful person in the world.
That doesn't matter. If you're happiest, then that's the ultimate purpose.
Yes, exactly.
So, could you share some insights into the meditation techniques taught at Aham and how they differ from other practices?
So most of the practices, Bhavita, which other spiritual teachers teach, are all about, like I said, repetition. Repetition with chanting a mantra or visualization. Imagine you are here, imagine you are there, imagine there is a light, imagine there is God. Or they are about relaxation. So you take some deep breaths and you feel relaxed. Right? But at Aham, what I share are practices to cultivate the qualities of observation and inquiry. I also teach them these techniques, how they can relax instantly by changing their breath and all those things. I also give them those hacks. But I tell them that these are hacks. These are temporary. This can help you relax, but not realize. So I teach techniques which help them to cultivate a deep sense of self-awareness, which happens through observation. You actually become conscious about everything happening in and around yourself. And you make choices out of awareness and not out of ignorance, not out of past reactions and past patterns. Right? So, we teach them practices to cultivate self-awareness, which is through observation, and also practices to inquire and develop self-understanding. And third, also we encourage that they volunteer and they start sharing, giving. Because unless and until you start volunteering, you start sharing, start giving, you do not realize that happiness is so easy to get. You're always doing things out of what can I get out of it? What can I get out of this, out of that?
Yeah,
but
true.
If you start doing things because you've already gotten a lot, then you realize it's so easy to be happy. So a lot of people also do volunteering or social work to get status. They want to post photos on Facebook and show how big social worker they are and get those likes and comments, right? It's not volunteering. It's not seva. Seva or volunteering is about doing things because you can do it. Full stop. Not because you want something out of it. Like, I mean, you can ask Jeevan. Jeevan is here on the call, and he'll tell you that I am always looking at how can I help Jeevan and Zen gurus also. How can you who can you Nakul, what can you give me? It has never been because of that. It's only been because why shouldn't I if I can? So if I can connect him to a good person, I would. If I can share some good contacts, some people who could benefit from his amazing services, I would do that. So anyone I meet, I should have an intention of how can I help this person without expecting anything in return, honestly. If you live with the spirit, then you're actually doing seva. Right? Most people only do seva in a satsang mandal, in a gurudwara. That's not seva. That's show off for most people. They want to show how humble they are and how voluntary they are. No. Volunteering or seva is about doing whatever you can, wherever you can, without expecting something out of that. You're doing it because you know you have received so much already and not to get something more. So I help people in our community to cultivate these three qualities of observing, of inquiring, and of truly serving. And if someone does this, I can promise, I can assure that they would definitely attain enlightenment someday. I cannot promise which day, but someday for sure. And if they sincerely do this for a year, within a year, I can make them experience the states of samadhi.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. What usually takes people years and years of practice in a cave, in an ashram, in a monastery, people who've been part of my Aham community for a year and who've done the practices which happen daily, because we make them do daily meditations, some inquiry processes, some recorded programs. There are things they have to do. Then they, within a year, have experiences of deep samadhi. They are able to go thoughtless at will. So overthinking, anger, anxiety go out of your life. And they
So
are able to attain a state of clarity and peace at will, which is at a constant level. Plus, they don't have to worship me as a guru, as an avatar. They don't have to become my devotee. They don't have to think I'm very holier than them. No, I'm just someone who was in the same journey as they are, who happened to find the destination and is now helping them to reach the destination. So I'm a friend. You know, I'm like an Ola cab driver who has the car,
Yeah.
who knows the
Yeah.
destination, and who's taking them along there. Nothing more than that.
So can you share a memorable experience or story of transformation from someone you've guided?
Well, a lot of them I have, Bhavita. I have taken programs of the armed forces, NSG level commandos of Force One.
Yeah.
A lot of guys, central jail prisoners. There was this one experience in central jail where there was this person who had committed a murder. And because, yeah, in cold blood, that murder also got featured in Crime Patrol.
Oh.
So, and of course, he was imprisoned in jail. And he had been in the jail since 8 or 9 years when I took the session. And he had these black eyes, dark circles, red eyes with dark circles. And he said, Nakul sir, I cannot sleep. I'm so much in guilt at what I did. I just cannot sleep. And it's been 8 years, I have never been able to sleep. And also because what happened with his family, right? A, he had the guilt of doing that. And B, his family and the society started ignoring them, neglecting them, calling names to them. You are the family of a murderer and this and that. So he had so much of guilt and repentance and sadness within that I am unable to meet with my family, speak with my family. I have put my family in so much of social pain and neglect, and I have taken someone's life. He just could not sleep. And after a session that I did there, the next session he came and he just fell on my feet, Bhavita. And he said, Sir, did you take away my pain? I did something which is called a Shakti Path, where I look at someone eye to eye and you'll burst out of tears. Right? So I can help you just throw all your emotions out by just looking at you in the eye. I don't talk of it often because people then want this shortcut and then they line up outside my house or office that just give us this instant thing. But I do it only when I find it absolutely necessary. So he said, "Sir, आपने मेरे दुख अपने ऊपर ले लिए क्या? Did you take away my pain? Did you own them away?" And he said, "I slept for the first time after 8 years." Can you see
Wow.
me? My screen is freezing. So I'm wondering. Yeah. So he said, "I slept first time after 8 years peacefully. What did you do to me? You take away my pain." This is one such
Wow.
experience I'll always remember. Many such experience in Central Jail I had. I did a session which was supposed to be for one day, but went on for 2 weeks on demand of these criminals. I mean, not criminals, but all these prisoners. Then there's a student of mine, Ayush. So I've helped more than 60, 70 people by now, Bhavita, who were suicidal and would have 100% be dead by today if they did not have a conversation with me at the right moment. So anyone who's come to me when they had suicidal thoughts, they've all been alive, they've all been saved because I helped them to get a shift in perspective. So one such person was from a corporate, and I'll not name the corporate, but he said on a live session in front of all the other teammates that he had prepared to tie himself up to a rope and commit suicide. All right.
Oh, God.
He had got the rope, he had learned how to tie a rope, he had made preparations. And he said, "Sir, after last session, my actual plans were like, if your session is on Monday, on Tuesday, I was going to die. I had made all the arrangements. But your session shifted so much that all the pain which I was wanting to escape from is now gone. And I'm so happy again. And I've quit the desire to die." He said this in front of everyone. It is because of you I'm today alive, attending another session of yours. I would not have been alive today.
So
Yeah.
it's
So
so I'm not getting the right word, but it's definitely amazing. I mean, phenomenal. You getting somebody out of their sad
yes.
state and now they're blissful. That's just phenomenal.
So likewise, I have so many stories, Bhavita. I mean, I have more than 10,000 screenshots of people who've said
Wow.
how they've been able to come out of depression, anxiety, sleeping pills, anger issues, suicidal tendencies, whatnot. I have more than 10,000 screenshots, hundreds of videos. They are not published online. We are poor with social media. Uh, but I have a lot of testimonials. And I think one of the best things is that someone who's currently in my community right now, his name is Ayush. He'd also joined as a teenager. He was in absolute depression, also had suicidal thoughts, right? Because he was very confused about life, had breakup, a lot of things. And today he's part of my Awakener group. He does daily meditation. He hosts daily meditations of mine. All right. And he's able to, I mean, he's forgotten that he was at one point in depression, anxiety, overthinking, stress, was contemplating suicide. He's so much at peace now. His relationship issues are sorted, and he encourages all of his friends to join. So all of his friends have joined my community and the program because they've seen him change tremendously. And they're like, how can this happen in a year? This guy was here and he's here now.
True.
So people change, Bhavita. Everybody can change if they really want to change. And what I share or teach in my programs is not something which is very delusional or irrational or abstract or esoteric. This is something very practical, very experiential, and something which gives instant results as well.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's why everybody benefits, and then they bring more people who become part of a community. So we've never done any sort of paid marketing or stuff. It's all been
Word of
referral,
mouth. Yeah.
yeah, word of mouth. That's how it has been going so far, at least.
So, what message would you like to leave for our listeners who are just beginning their spiritual journey?
Well, for all the listeners of this podcast, even if you are not beginning a spiritual journey, my simple advice would be that please question everything and spare
Hmm.
nothing.
Observe, question.
Question everything. Please question your own beliefs, your ideas
Hmm.
about what is right, what is wrong, what is true, what
Exactly.
is false. Even if you hear a great authority on spirituality, some big guru, some famous guru, or you read book by a famous authority, do not blindly believe whatever they are saying. Evaluate their words from your own experience. If it makes sense to you, if it relates and resonates with you, accept it. If it does not, reject it. They might have good intentions, they might be a big guru,
Hmm.
but they might not be saying the truth. Right? So if you really want to live a meaningful life, a peaceful life, a beautiful life, and a truly spiritually evolved life, please understand it will not happen from just chanting mantras or wanting to read auras or have some fancy crystals on your fingers or read your horoscope. That is not spirituality. It will only happen if you have a spirit to understand the reality of who you are, why you do what you do, and what is life all about. Right? So please don't stop questioning. Please don't stop exploring, experimenting, and please do not stop seeking. And do it with everyone, including myself.
So,
Don't even take my
okay.
words for
So,
granted.
what, yeah. So, what do you think? Yeah. So, what do you think? What is life all about? Is it about working? Is it about buying things? What is it about? Like, what's
Bhavita,
the purpose of this?
if you look at your all your actions in your life, whether it be about the relationships you make, it be about the hobbies you have, the money you wish to make, everything in your life that you do is for only one intention. You constantly want to feel better. It's not about feeling happy. Because if you're happy right now, then logically you would not do anything else.
Yeah.
You would be still, oh, I'm happy, great. I
Hmm.
would not watch another reel. I would not watch another comedy show. I would
Hmm.
not listen to another song.
Hmm. True.
Everything that you do is driven by only one intention, which is to feel better the next moment compared to this moment, right? And in order to feel better, you end up doing a lot of things. You want to earn money.
Hmm.
Why? Because you don't feel nice when you think you don't have as much money as someone else has. You don't
Yeah.
feel nice when you think
That
you
is,
don't have a particular cell phone which someone else has. You
yeah.
don't feel nice when you think you don't have new clothes because somebody else has.
Yeah. Car, maybe. He has a luxurious car. I don't have that.
Yes. So all
That-
materialistic desires, all desires for experiences of traveling to places, of going to amusement parks and eating different restaurants, they all come out of this one fundamental desire, which is to constantly feel better.
Better
The,
than
next, the
better than
last
before.
moment, the last moment, the last hour, the last day, the last year, the last life, if you
Hmm.
remember it,
Hmm.
right? You just want to constantly feel better. But realize this, it's a never ending race.
Yeah. Never
You
ending
would
race.
never
Absolutely.
ever feel better because you will, as long as you go on comparing this moment with
Yeah.
any of the last moments,
Yeah.
you can make any moment miserable,
Yeah.
right?
True.
If you're sitting here, you're at peace, but you remember the trip you went to last summer. You're like,
Yeah.
shit, I enjoyed so much on the trip. I'm feeling so bored right now. I want to go to trip again.
Hmm.
So you will go on chasing experiences, relationships, drugs, alcohol, sex, entertainment, shopping. You will go on chasing all of these things and you
Hmm.
would never ever be satisfied and truly happy.
Even I was a big shopaholic, and I used to, had a lot of cravings to eat meat and have these fried stuff and everything. But from I think past 8 9 years since I've begun with my journey of spirituality, my cravings was really reduced. Like really. Now I've haven't had 2 years. I was somebody who used to eat chicken every day. So, so you just can't believe you're the same person. You're like, oh my God, this is somebody else. Why you don't have cravings now? Why you don't feel the urge to shop all the time? But yeah, those urges are still there. But it's like you have to be, if you're on this spiritual journey, then those urges would be in control. But once you step out of it, then obviously they start again. But then you still again control yourself and be back.
Yes.
Yeah, you get all, you're absolutely right. You get all your answers from this, from
Yes.
spiritual
Yes.
meditation,
You get
from
answers.
from questioning yourself. Yeah,
You get answers and you get freedom. Bhavita, don't you feel so free that you don't have the cravings of
yeah,
eating
freedom.
non-veg? You don't have a cravings to shop anymore. You're so free
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
So
yeah.
spirituality is about finding freedom. And you find freedom when you're able to let go of all these cravings and desires which unnecessarily you think are causing you or helping you to feel better, but are in fact only stopping you from feeling better constantly.
But it's a continuous process. Nakul, you would agree. We have to work on it every day. It's not like today I do it and next day I'll be fine. No, it has to be
Yes,
continuously.
absolutely. It's a continuous process, it's a
Mm.
practice. But you have exponential returns.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Connecting with yourself, it gives you
Yes. So you never go back to
exponential.
the exact same place once you've started on these authentic spiritual practices. Because once you've realized
Mm.
something, how can you go back to an older understanding? And even if you happen to go back, this understanding would come back.
Mm.
This realization
Yeah.
will knock you. Hey, you were there. Where have you been lost? So the purpose of life is,
Mm.
I mean,
Yeah.
whatever we do is to feel better. But the purpose of life then is to find something which helps you constantly feel better, isn't it?
Hmm. Hmm. I think you start valuing everything around you. You start valuing your parents once you have this thing. You start valuing your job. Because I still remember when I was not on this path, at that time, I was like, no, I don't want this. Whatever I'm getting, no, I want something that that person has. I want to know this is not what I want to make. I want to make that much that person is making. You know, I had this urge to compete all the time.
Yes.
And that was really messing my mind a lot. But now I'm very chilled out. I'm like, okay, it's just fine. And I think when you are on this path yourself, you get that clarity and you are able to find your own path. That'll give you that peace. If you have that
Absolutely.
clarity, then you can find that path that you are looking for from so long.
Absolutely. Hence, it's all
So,
about,
can you tell us about your programs?
yeah.
It's all
So
about?
it's all about starting walking the path, starting questioning, starting to seek answers, starting to know yourself. And when that student is ready, the teacher appears.
Yeah. So, can you tell us something about your programs? If our listeners want to join, how they can do that?
So I have a 5-day free program, Bhavita, for everyone, where everyone can participate and learn and be free of all their overthinking, stress, anxiety in the first 2 days only. On the third day, they'll be free of all the stored emotions. On the fourth day, they'll be able to stop their thoughts at will, completely stop the thoughts on will. So I do this 5-day program, which is free, which gives an introduction to observation and inquiry. And thereafter, if they truly feel benefited and if they're truly serious, then they can join our annual program. It's like a membership. You know? I do not believe in just doing a 3-day, 4-day program and leaving them. No. In the annual membership, which we call as a
Mm.
seeker community, right?
Mm.
They get daily meditations, which happens 5 times a day. So they
Mm.
get to practice daily, and every day there's a new meditation, but all towards cultivating the quality of observation and inquiry.
Mm.
They get some recorded courses. We have a weekly, twice a week Q&A sessions wherein I answer all their questions, doubts, wherever they feel stuck in life. Also teach them something new. We track their habits. We have a community, so we also meet offline because this is majorly online. So we also meet offline twice or thrice a year. through retreats and meetups, right? And there are also opportunities for them to volunteer and give back, in many ways. And plus, there are many more ebooks and journals for reflecting. There are a lot more things. So first, they start with a 5-day free program and the experience benefits. Now, if they really are serious towards a spiritual journey, then they become a part of a seeker community or the seeker program, which is like a ongoing membership. It's not like something you do and that's it for 3 days, 5 days. It's an ongoing thing. I handhold them to really evolving spiritually. And I promise them that when they become part of the seeker and they do what we ask them to do, within 1 year, they would grow spiritually as much as they would not have even grown in 10 years.
Wow.
And those who are part of it vouch about it, that they've grown in 1 year as much as they haven't grown in the past 10 years. Even though they've done Vipassana and Art of Living and Isha and Brahma Kumari, I mean, Yogananda, they've done a lot of things, yoga and stuff. But they say that they've grown as much in 1 year as they haven't in the 10 years combined. So,
Yes.
yeah,
So
that's how it is.
So we will share the link below, and people who are watching this podcast can be part of that challenge. 5
Surely.
days. I would definitely want to be in this.
Surely, you're
All
welcome.
right. Thank you so much,
And if you're
Nakul.
unable to find the link, maybe they can also look me up on social media. They
Yeah.
can just search for Nakul Agrawal or @living Nakul. And if they just send me a message, they DM me, the team will share the link for them to join the program.
All right. Thank you so much, Nakul. The conversation was very, very enlightening. And I'm very grateful that I got an opportunity to be part of this podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bhavita. Likewise, I enjoyed talking to you. And I'm
All right.
glad I was able to shed some light on your
Yeah.
questions.
It was a beautiful podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you.